The U.S. has cut a deal to send a small number of migrant deportees to the European nation of Kosovo. Officials from both nations tell CBS News Kosovo will temporarily house dozens of migrants from other countries amid the Trump administration's broad crackdown on immigration. A statement from the prime minister reads in part, "The United States of America remains our steadfast ally in the Republic of Kosovo, will always be their reliable partner." CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now. And Camilo, good to see you. Walk us through the details of this agreement. And is Kosovo getting anything in return for accepting these migrants? Why would they sign up for this?
Hi, Nancy. At the request of the Trump administration, Kosovo is now agreeing to host at least 50 deportees who are not from this small European country, meaning that they will be from third countries, nations across the world, where the U.S. traditionally has had a difficult time deporting individuals. Some of those countries include Venezuela, Cuba, and other nations whose governments have frosty diplomatic relations with the U.S. This obviously is a relatively small population. We're talking about potentially dozens of deportations, not hundreds. But it is really important to underscore that this is part of a broader and large campaign by the Trump administration to convince as many countries as possible in Latin America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and other parts of the globe to accept third country nationals. In terms of what Kosovo is getting in return for this arrangement, it is still unclear. But what we do know is that the U.S. is one of Kosovo's strongest allies on the international stage, and it is one of more than 100 countries that actually recognizes its sovereignty, which is contested by Serbia and others.
So as you bring up, Camilo, it's not just Kosovo. The Trump administration has cut deportation deals with multiple countries at this point, including Costa Rica, Panama, El Salvador. So why not keep these migrants in U.S. custody? What are the other countries gaining here?
It's a critical question. One of the reasons why the U.S. is seeking to broker third country deportation agreements with nations across the globe is because some governments, like the Cuban government, like the Venezuelan government, and some countries in Southeast Asia, for example, like Vietnam, do not accept U.S. deportations, or they dramatically limit them. And so the U.S. has had a difficult time historically deporting migrants to these home countries. And they are looking, obviously, to expand deportations under the president's immigration crackdown. The other really important critical point that we have to make here is that usually whenever these countries broker an agreement with the U.S., they receive some monetary compensation in return or some diplomatic output that the U.S. can give them too. So in the case of El Salvador, for example, which is now hosting hundreds of Venezuelans accused of gang membership at that notorious mega prison, the U.S. actually sent that country in Central America millions of dollars in security funding.
Camilo, I also want to ask about dozens of migrants being detained during an ICE raid in Omaha. What do you know about that?
Well, this is a really significant development, Nancy, because under the Biden administration, ICE agents had been instructed to basically discontinue large-scale worksite immigration enforcement operations. During the first Trump administration, we saw ICE going after many work sites, including poultry plants, to arrest hundreds, if not thousands, of workers during different operations, including in Mississippi. That was discontinued under the Biden administration. Now, the second Trump administration is reinstating this practice, and we just learned that ICE has conducted a large-scale operation in Nebraska that led to the arrest of more than 70 migrants who are suspected of working and living in the country illegally. According to ICE, one of these migrants allegedly tried to assault the federal agents who were there to arrest other migrants and is probably at this point going to be facing criminal prosecution. But the concern here among many industries that rely on undocumented labor and workers is that they could be next in this dramatic crackdown that the administration is overseeing on immigration, Nancy.
Camilo, thank you very much. Always appreciate your reporting.